Can We Ring the Liberty Bell? By Martha E. H. Rustad, illustrated by Kyle Poling. Can we ring the Liberty Bell? Table of Contents. Chapter 1, A Visit to the Liberty Bell. Chapter 2, A Bell to Share the News. Chapter 3, A Symbol of Liberty. Chapter 4, Ringing for Freedom. Chapter 1, A Visit to the Liberty Bell. Today is a field trip day. Our teacher says we are going to see a famous American symbol. Melissa says, my big brother plays the cymbals in band. Mr. Chen smiles, not the instrument. Here, the word symbol means something that stands for something else. Like a heart means love, said Amira. Yes, said Mr. Chen. Can anyone name a symbol of America? The flag, says Benjamin. The bald eagle, said Simon. Good thinking, our teacher says. Today we are going to see the Liberty Bell. Liberty is another word for freedom. The Liberty Bell hangs in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. A copy of the Liberty Bell hangs in every U.S. state. Most states keep their bell in or near the state capitol building. We ride the bus to Independence National Historic Park. Ranger Marcella meets us outside the Liberty Bell Center. Welcome, she says. I have a riddle for you. The Liberty Bell doesn't make a sound. So how can we help ring it? Shake it? Asks Thomas. No, we can't shake it, answers Ranger Marcella. Then I have no idea, says Layla. Keep thinking about my riddle. I'll tell you more about the bell, our guide says. If you want to visit the Liberty Bell, you'll have to spit out your gum and candy. Sticky foods are not allowed near the bell. Chapter 2, A Bell to Share the News. Look behind me, Ranger Marcella says. During the 1700s, that building was called the Pennsylvania State House. We learned that people in Pennsylvania's government worked in the State House. Ranger Marcella says, let's talk about communication. How do we learn news today? Watch TV, says Ryan. Mr. Chen says, I check my phone. Listen to the radio, Sylvia says. Our guide asks, did people have phones, radios, or TVs in the 1700s? No, we all say. We learn that bells rang to tell people there was news. Then people went to the State House to find out what was happening. It took 19 years to build the Pennsylvania State House. That's because the government kept running out of money to pay workers to build it. We follow our guide into the museum inside the Liberty Bell Center. She tells us that the State House needed a new bell in 1751. Workers in England made a bell that year, Ranger Marcella says. It arrived in Pennsylvania in 1752. But it cracked the first time it was rung. It cracked right away, says Jaden. Yes, it was too brittle. So workers here melted the bell down and they made a new bell with the metal. She tells us it was hung in the State House. I ask you to adopt the principles proclaimed by yourselves, by your revolutionary fathers, and by the old bell in Independence Hall, by Frederick Douglass. The Liberty Bell is made mostly of copper. It also contains tin, lead, zinc, arsenic, gold, and silver. We walk through the museum. When the bell was made, Pennsylvania was part of Great Britain, Ranger Marcella says. Many people living in America wanted their own country. They wanted to be free to make their own laws. We learn that the country's founders signed two important papers in the State House. The Declaration of Independence said America wanted to be its own country. It was signed in 1776. The Constitution is a set of rules for our government, and it was signed in 1787. Ranger Marcella adds, because these papers were signed in the State House, today it is called Independence Hall. Take a look at this x-ray, Ranger Marcella says. It shows what happened to the bell in 1846. I had an x-ray when I broke my arm, said Zach. We all look at the big x-ray of the bell. We can see a crack. The bell cracked and broke when it rang for George Washington's birthday. Does anyone know who that was? Yes, he was our first president, answers Delilah. Correct. He died in 1799. We still remember his birthday, our guide said. The bell rang for the last time on that day in 1846. No one knows for sure why the bell cracked. It may have been rung too much for too many years. Tiny cracks had appeared before, but people were still able to ring it. After the big crack formed, the bell could not be rung again. Chapter 3, a symbol of liberty. At last, we see the bell. Why do we call it the Liberty Bell? Asked Mr. Chen. Good question, Ranger Marcella says. Look closely at the top. I see the word liberty right there, said Nicholas. Yes, our guide says. It says proclaim liberty. Proclaim means to tell everyone about something. So proclaim liberty means to tell everyone about freedom. We learn that people began calling the bell the Liberty Bell in the 1830s. Chapter 4, Ringing for Freedom. Can we ring the Liberty Bell? Asked Diana. Sorry, says Ranger Marcella. Remember the Liberty Bell is broken? It doesn't ring anymore, Mia says. But your riddle says we can help it ring. How can we ring a bell that doesn't work anymore? Ranger Marcella says, we ring the bell by being fair to everyone. We make sure everyone has freedom. The Liberty Bell weighs 2,080 pounds. That is as much as 260 gallons of milk. It is almost 4 feet wide and 3 feet tall. Our field trip is almost over. What do we say to our guide? Mr. Chen asks. Thank you, Ranger Marcella, we say together. Back at school, we hear the bell ring at the end of the day. That bell rings for your freedom from school, our teacher jokes. We all run around on the playground. It's good to be free. Every year, relatives of the country's founders tap the Liberty Bell on July 4th. People also tap the bell in January on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. They do this to honor King's work for freedom for all people.